Can I just start by thanking Commissioners Pagani-Briggs and Tracy for their work over the last couple of years in the preparation of this important report. And as both Prime Minister and Greg have said, it is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to create real change in the way that aged care is provided in this country. Can I also thank all of those who've submitted to the Royal Commission, particularly the families and the residents who have told us their stories. The Prime Minister said when the Commission was called we were going to hear some really, really hard things, and we have. And unfortunately we continue to do that, which is what really drives me in wanting to fundamentally reform the way that we deliver aged care in this country. The thing that being in this portfolio has done, the thing that the process of the Royal Commission has done, from my point of view, is to make me fundamentally question the whole way that we deliver aged care in this country and go back to first step fundamentals in looking at what we should be doing if we're building a new system. And it's the stories and sitting down with family and loved ones and listening to them, usually in tears, talking about the loss of dignity that their family member has suffered as a part of living within the system, which is driving my ambition with respect to this reform process. So thank you to all of those families, who have submitted to the Royal Commission, but to those that have sat down opposite me at the desk to talk about it. I said when we received the interim report that the report would put us all on notice, and it did. It put government on notice, it put the aged care sector on notice, and it put the Australian community on notice. It talked about the fact that there's a lot of cans been kicked down the road in aged care for 20 years by successive governments, and the attitude of the community more generally to senior Australians isn't what we want it to be. And I think we now stand in a situation where we have the opportunity to change all of those things. Both the Prime Minister and Greg have reflected on that. It's now our role to engage with the sector and Australians to commence that reform process. Minister Hunt has indicated that we've made a number of initial response measures today, just in the same way that we responded to the interim report and particularly the COVID report to improve the way that the system operates. And each of those responses has had an eye towards where we might go in the design of the final system. It needed to do that. The concept of continuing what's been described by the Royal Commission as an ad hoc approach needs to stop. We need to look at fundamental reform of the system. But we have continued to do the things that we've needed to do to increase the capacity of the system, but also its delivery. Since ScoMo became Prime Minister, we've invested $5.5 billion in over 83,000 new home care packages. As he said a moment ago, we are currently offering new home care packages to Australians at the rate of 1,200 per week out to the end of this financial year. We've put in place new quality standards, a new aged care charter of rights, we've improved medication management, we've put in place measures to reduce the number of people under the age of 65 in residential aged care. That is bearing fruit. It is making a difference, and we'll continue to work in that area. We've asked for infection control leads in every aged care facility. We've established the Workforce Industry Council, and can I say I'm really delighted at the progress they've made, particularly since May when their new CEO Louise came on board. We've invested $185 million over 10 years in dementia research, and that's off the back of $200 million that we invested when we came to government in 2013. And we've continued to invest in improvements to the My Aged Care website so that it's easier for senior Australians and their families to navigate their way through the system. And of course, last year, during COVID, we invested $1.8 billion into the COVID response. And we will have new regulations to manage restraint by the 1st of July, because we put in place a process to review the new regulations that came into force just 2 years ago. Those recommendations are back with us, but we also put a sunset clause in to those new regulations, which means that we have to have new regulations in place by the 1st of July. So we continue our work, as both the Prime Minister and Greg have said, to reform and improve the system. And this Royal Commission report that's been underway for more than 2 years now gives us, I think, a great imprimatur to do that. But the opportunity, as the Prime Minister and Greg have said, to create generational change for the way that senior Australians receive aged care.